And then we can start with the dog of the week.
Fun.
The golden retriever.
Yes. What is it? Number 4?
Yeah.
Number 4.
For, I think it was 2021.
2021 in America.
Breeds of the top breeds, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched one. Henry. Have you met him?
I don't think so.
He's just a giant mud pile with legs.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially. A couple sticks, mud, a little bit of fur.
Anything that can touch them, yeah.
And he gets a lot of hot spots, though.
Super prone.
Yeah, he's the reason. I don't know if I've shown it to you, but out on that porch behind me, I've got like a dog tub.
Yeah.
I got it on Amazon. It was like $200, just plastic, but it's like raised up. His owner has one just because she tries to stay on top of like washing them. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me get one.
Super important to dry them. Take the collars off while they're drying because they'll get hot spots under the collar too.
Yeah, anything that holds moisture basically.
Moisture, yep. Anything under the
they have
ear
the double
flaps.
coat, right?
Yep, double coated.
Does brushing help with that too?
Not specifically hot spots, but brushing will help keep them cleaner and less likely to keep moisture. So, yeah, they're pretty good dogs. I like them. Males, usually you see them, they're supposed to be 65 to 75 pounds. We all see those Goldens that come in waddling in at like 100 pounds. Yeah. My aunt's dog. She's working on his weight though. He gets dog walked and special diet. He can only have so many calories a day and can't have treats and stuff like that. So she's trying.
Yeah, they love food, so.
Oh yeah. A lot of people love them through food. Like, and this is like for all dogs in general. People want to love them, so they love giving them treats because they love their dog. But you shouldn't love your dog through food because that leads to overweight issues, and that's not healthy for them. And females should be probably around 55 to 65. Again, you usually see them waddling in very, very fat. So 10 to 12 years average lifespan.
I was actually expecting like a little bit less. Okay.
Again, dog to dog will vary. So 8, 9 being, start of the downfall, I feel. And then they are very similar to labs, easily trained, wants to please, adaptable, high energy, outgoing, trustworthy, merry. Like the whole like idea of them is they're merry dogs, just goofy, happy.
Yeah. Like whenever I watch Henry, like I just smile the whole time because it's just so fun watching.
They're just so happy. They don't have no brain cells, so they don't feel sadness at all.
Yeah, Henry's head is probably the size of like, I don't know, a basketball. Yeah, he does a lot of dumb things.
Moderate shedding level. They do require to be weekly brushed at least, since their fur gets long and they get matted. Probably monthly, every couple months, a bath can help keep the coat clean, And then other than that, they're pretty like self-staining. Like they're pretty good with their teeth. I don't see a lot of issues with them unless they're chewing, which is a thing that they're prone to, and then they break their teeth. Usually we don't see tartar. It's usually broken teeth for golden retrievers.
Okay. Yeah, Henry's are very white. He loves chewing on like sticks and
anything and everything.
Yeah. He's always got to have something in his mouth.
There's only 3 acceptable standard colors, which is dark golden, so like the reddish kind of golden, the regular golden, and then a light golden. There's no other colors accepted by the AKC. And no markings either. So if they have like a white patch, it's not typically a good sign. So that's standards. Shedding, we went over. Fun facts, they originated in Scotland as a retrieval dog for gunmen. They do extremely well in almost all aspects of, competition, life. Like you see them hunting, working dogs, so you see them doing the blind, search and rescue, therapy dogs, guide dogs. They do well in obedience and conformation events just because they're very
just a very well-rounded
dog, so they're very adaptable to lifestyles. Almost anyone can probably handle a golden retriever. They pretty much like sustain like their puppy behavior their whole life. So you always have like a happy-go-lucky dog regardless. Like I said, Mary. We see 12-year-old, 13-year-old Goldens. They're all decrepit and looking, and they come bounding in, sometimes carrying their leash or a toy. They're so goofy. But we call them puppies, old puppies, when we see them because they're still puppies to us.
I think that's probably a huge part of why they're so popular is because they're just so lovely. Like, they're so easy to love.
They're extremely easy. Though they are supposed to be high energy dogs. They're supposed to be considered high energy dogs. So they do very well in active homes, homes who do a lot of training and mental stimulation, hunting homes. They would do okay in moderate energy homes, but the dog still needs like its actual walks and mental stimulation. I personally don't think they would thrive in
cat.
I know. He says, "What about me?"
Hey, Tucker.
He's like, "I want another cat episode." They don't really. I don't think they would thrive in like low energy homes because they're not meant to be couch potatoes. They weren't bred to be couch potatoes. They're pretty to look at, but they're not supposed to be ornaments. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they can be a couch potato if you get the energy out right. So like, it's a great dog for if you want to like go for a nice good hike, and then it's like let's hit the brewery after, and they're just gonna be happy, you know, chill. So yeah, they're like the perfect companion dog. I feel like
they really are. Like, I'm not a big I don't see myself ever owning one because they're just not my fit for my lifestyle and what I want.
But they always make you happy.
They make me happy, and I feel like they can make pretty much anyone happy. They're really like just easygoing dogs. I like how easygoing they are. I will say they do have one of the higher biting records.
Okay.
For dog and human because so many people have them.
Yeah. That's fair point.
I think they're like number 3 behind. I think it's like Chihuahuas, Pitties, and then Retrievers. Somewhere in there, they're pretty high up on biting. Most likely because they weren't stimulated in proper exercise and all that fun stuff, or socialized. Any dog you need to socialize, but
Henry wears a basket muzzle when I put him in the car.
Oh yeah,
he's fine at the park, but in the car,
he's probably being confined.
Yeah, I feel like him too being like a bigger dog, like it's easy for the group to look at him as like, you know, like so like he feels he needs to be defensive. So, but with the muzzle, he's great. He hops in and there's like no issue. He just relaxes. So just interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Yes. Now to move on to their health.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Their Achilles. What is it? Achilles heel.
Yeah. They have a lot of Achilles heels.
Yeah.
More than 4, so more legs than they have.
Yeah.
So they are very food motivated dogs. They love food. So you see a lot of overweight ones, so obesity issues. So you're going to see a lot of arthritis, diabetes, hind end issues. They start to go down. Like I mentioned earlier, they break their teeth a lot. We see a lot of dental disease because they break their teeth. They're prone to so many cancers. Hemangiosarcoma, which is an internal bleeding tumor. I see a lot of those in the ER for them. Lymphoma, so lymph node cancer. You can usually see when you feel their lymph nodes, the glands are swollen. It has to do with the lymphocytes in the blood, and it's pretty nasty and sometimes is treatable, but usually isn't the greatest and thing to hear. Like, you don't want to hear that. Mast cell tumors, so those need to be removed ASAP, or else they can spread. They can spread to the lung. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Are those the ones that are like big balls? So
they're not big balls. Those are lipomas. The mast cell tumors are small, or they can. So the thing is, they get big and small. They grow and shrink all within a week. They can be big, small, big, small, big, small. They can be red and irritated looking, or it can just look, just slightly red and like a little mass. You should always get any masses tested just to be safe, because you never know until you test them. So doing a cytology and sending it out to the lab to confirm what type of, mass or growth that's growing, because something that looks like a skin tag may not always be a skin tag. Something to think about.
How do you test that? Do you have to take like tissue sample?
So kind of, we just take cells. So we take a 20 gauge needle, so fairly small, and we just
smaller than flu shot.
I don't know what size they use for humans. I think 20 and 22 is the size for ear piercings. So similar to ear piercing, but they poke around and they're just poking different angles, different sides, getting little cell samples on the inside of the needle part, and then they blow it out on a slide, and then they send it out to a lab where they'll stain it in-house, and they'll look under a microscope and tell you what grade of mast cell tumor or whatever type of mass it is. Sometimes it's fatty, and they may just not even send it out because you can tell when it's fatty. It looks like little droplets almost for fatty tumors. AKA lipomas.
Yeah, wow. That's just amazing how technology is. Like, I don't know, 100 years from ago, it's just like, I don't know, your dog's sick, put it down. It's like, what do you, like, they couldn't do all this testing.
Yeah. Mast cell tumors, they don't look scary sometimes, that's the thing, but they are scary. And they get graded on like 1 to 4 scale, and then some of them you have to get like wide margins. So even though it's like a tiny little mass, you have to get like big. So that's why you see like huge incisions on dogs who had like a tiny little, and people complain, they're like, it was only supposed to be a small mass and half the dog's gone. I'm like, you had to get wide margins to get that cancer, because that can spread to the lungs, and then once it's in the lungs, they're like little mets. You can't treat it. Bloat.
Does that show up in like an X-ray? The lung stuff.
Yeah. Usually I
assume it's too late at that point.
At that point, it's kind of just keeping them comfortable. But if you remove them as soon as you see them, and you don't let them sit there for months and months and months, it is preventable. And they don't come back as long as they get clean margins. So that's why doctors send out certain sizes. Even if it's a small mass, they have to get wide margins on mast cell tumors to make sure they fully evacuate it, because if you leave any cells, it's gonna grow back, and you're gonna have to do another surgery, and that's a couple $1,000s. So
that's just wild to think. Yeah, you have to like overshoot.
Exactly. It sucks because, the dog's uncomfortable because it has the incision, but as long as they're on adequate pain meds, they should heal up fine. The only issues is if it's like in a high movement area, those are harder to heal up. So like the armpit area or on the feet or wrists, that's a big one. It's hard to close those and get wide margins because there's only so much skin on a leg. So the sooner you see it, the better, and to remove it, especially when they're like pea size that, only need to maybe remove like $1 quarter size of the surrounding tissue.
I feel so bad for golden retrievers.
Oh, I know. Oh. And this is this is any dog is prone, right? Yeah. But they unfortunately are, genetic prone to them. Same with bloat, which is just the buildup of the air, and then they can flip. So the GVD. Deadly if not treated ASAP. Glaucoma, so they're prone to eye cancer. Allergies, so food and environmental, that can develop at any point in their life. So they can eat the same thing since they're a puppy, and then 1 year they just start, having issues with that food, or 1 year the grass starts bothering them, they can develop allergies. Epilepsy, I see a lot of epileptic golden retrievers at the ER. That's not fun. It's sad. Heart disease, so they also get dilated cardiomyopathy, so the enlarged heart, either food-based or, they're prone to them as well. Diabetes from being fat. liver problems. They have a specific liver disorder.
Just doesn't.
I know.
end.
I know.
Oh
I'm going.
I'm trying to count in my head. I've lost track.
I know. I think I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I listed 10, but there's more out there. So a specific liver disorder, they get a porosystemic shunt, so PSS. It's depriving the blood flow to the liver, so it goes around the liver, and it doesn't actually go through the liver, and it's depriving the blood flow, so you're not getting rid of the toxins in your body. So they need you can fix that with, I believe, surgery. Certain shunts you can fix with surgery. I'm not 100% on that one because I've never heard of that, but when I was researching golden retrievers, I'm like, oh, awesome. They get a specific liver issue too. And then they're prone to...
This is so sad.
I know. All the things. Thyroid issues. So you usually see them have hypothyroidism. So when they're overweight, you can usually do some blood work and it'll rule out, is it diabetes or is it a thyroid issue? Thyroid issues are easy to fix, though, because you could just give them a pill and it helps them and it can help them lose weight, but not always the case. Yeah, so
I don't know how true this is. I'd have to double check this. I think it was female golden retrievers. They recommend, like, not spaying, or they is a very generic... This particular, I don't know, study or whatever I was looking at, I'll find the link later. But I think it was like males like wait till like 3 or something, and like females are like don't spay them just because it increases their risk for like, I don't know. I don't know how true it is, but I thought it was interesting.
Increases risk of what?
Like getting cancer and stuff.
So that's kind of like, it's like conspiracy theories. I'm pro waiting to spay and neuter until like after the first heat cycle or second one. I like dogs to wait maybe like a year or 2 before spaying and neuter. That's just my personal opinion. Every tech or doctor will tell you something different. I think they need the hormones in their body, and they're more likely or less likely to get UTIs, I feel, if they go through a couple heat cycles, because if their vulva is hooded, there's more chance of bacteria getting in there. So with going through a heat cycle, it kind of pops their vulva out. And then males, they just need the hormones, I feel. Unless they're having behavioral issues, I'm pro waiting. I wouldn't wait too long for females just because they are prone to breast cancer. So, and pyometras, those are both deadly as well, because breast cancer is cancerous, and it can spread through the whole chain of mammary glands, and you may have to even remove the whole mammary gland. You have to spay the dog as well, and then you have to do x-rays to make sure it didn't already travel to the chest.
Yeah, now you're out of money.
Yeah.
That's
We've done that a couple times where a 12-year-old Chihuahua, let's say, came in. She had a bunch of little mammary tumors, and you can't really specifically test them because you can aggravate the tumors if you do cytologies on them. So breast cancer is like weird for dogs. You can't specifically test them, but if it feels like breast cancer, it's the best just to remove it. So the day of her spay, we had to x-ray her chest to make sure if it's even worth going through surgery, to make sure it didn't spread to her lungs. Then we had to go remove both chains, so both sides of all her mammary glands, so all her nipples, and then spay her as well. I think she got dental that day too, just because her mouth was tragic.
That's a lot for such a small
dog.
Little
but
dog.
You got to think about it. If you don't do it, then you're just not. It's just gonna get worse. Could we have split up some of the stuff? Not the mass removal in the spay. I think she was like 12.
years old.
12 years old. But she was relatively healthy. She had good blood work.
Because don't you not want to put older dog, or not that you don't want to, but it's higher risk for older dogs under anesthesia? Or?
I mean, it's not higher risk. If they have other underlying issues, so heart murmurs or weird blood work where the liver or kidneys or renal systems elevated, then yes, you may want to play it by ear. But if they have good blood work, it's just like saying to your grandma, you don't deserve to get your teeth fixed because you're old. You know, it's the same thing with dogs. Like, even though they're old, they still deserve to have, you know, painful things taken away. So that dog needed a dental so bad because it was just, tartar was holding her teeth in. Not even the roots, tartar. It was so gross. I'll have to show you the pictures.
Like chisel away at that?
So we have like something called, what are they called? I don't know why I can't think of the words today, but
with a mallet.
I know. Go at it.
Oh.
But we have like these little pinchy things. I don't know why I can't think of the name of them, but we crack the tartar off, and then depending on the tooth below, we probe it, make sure if there's pocketing, infection, is it a tooth wiggly, is it stable in the head, stuff like we do dental x-rays to make sure if we pull a tooth, is it good that we're pulling this tooth or not. But typically when they're that bad, we typically just pull the teeth after the dental x-rays. Yeah. So it's a lot, but she's doing good now. She's thriving, living her best life, feeling great. Doesn't have to worry about pyometras. Like, I'm surprised she didn't get one beforehand. It sucks because those are so random at times too. You can get like a 2-year-old dog gets it. And I'm like, they were planning on breeding it, but sucks because now you can't. And then you get like a 12-year-old dog that's never had an issue in its life.
That's crazy. Yeah, so, you know, the document or outline or whatever you want to call it that, you know, you can calculate your score for euthanasia. Yeah. So Zoe, the Yorkie we get, my mom gave her like a 34, which 35 or lower means like...
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. So my mom gave her a 34. My brother gave her like a 29. So my mom was like, all right, let me bring her to the vet.
Yeah.
Like, just to
have a consult, you know, if you're scoring low, just have a consult.
Yeah. So, poor Zoe, she's got like dementia. Pretty sure she's blind and deaf. A heart murmur.
See, that's like a type of dog I wouldn't do a surgery on.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds...
So well, we're my mom and my sister are kind of, not like going back and forth or anything, but like my sister wants to like say goodbye. I think we're going to do like maybe photos tomorrow. But like, yeah, no, it's like probably within a couple of days she'll be... My mom said she would have done it today if my sister Aubrey didn't like... She really wants to say goodbye. It's really hurting her a lot. So it's like,
because she grew up with the dog.
Yeah,
pretty
it's tough.
much.
It's tough.
She's pretty old, right?
Yeah, she's like 17 or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like, oh, that sucks right now.
I know. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all right. That's life. It's like with my grandpa was just like, you know what, they're at a better place. Like when they hit a certain point, you know, I feel like I stop being like sad, and I'm almost like, all right, like
you're ready.
You're ready, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
They're ready. You're ready. They know, you know, type of situation.
So
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get back to the golden retrievers. The breed website here. grca.org for all about golden retrievers, where to find breeders. It's literally Golden Retriever Club of America, so you can find all the stuff. They also have a rescue on that webpage, GRCA Care, that is a Golden Retriever specific rescue, so if you want to go down the rescue route. And then if you do go with a breeder, just making sure they do the proper testing. So they have...
Oh God, this list is going to be...
So it's actually not that bad.
Really?
Yeah. So they require for it to be OFA registered. hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, eye examination, and that needs to be done annually for the lifetime, especially before breeding. And cardiac evaluation. They want congenital and advanced past the age of 12 months, because the congenital, you'll be able to see if there's any heart defects, and the advanced echo just to make sure there's no murmur or anything like that. So nothing too crazy.
Eyes, heart, and joints.
Joints, yeah. Because, again, they're prone to arthritis because typically they're overweight, or they get hip dysplasia, stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for them. They don't. I'd probably rank them, I don't know, maybe like a 6, 7 as the high end good dog to get. Medically, they're probably going to cost you a lot. So insurance, they like to eat things. So I see a lot of them with foreign bodies. So a lot of puppies. I see a lot of puppies eating rocks and stuff. So insurance is a recommended one for them.
Sounds like they're great, minus they're just going to be a heartbreak, most likely.
Yeah, they're going to cost you money for the vet. But otherwise, you're going to love the hell out of them. Like I mentioned earlier, they're just great going dogs. I think they're easily trained. They're good with other dogs, typically. Again, dog-to-dog thing. Easily trained. I just think they're pretty good dogs. I really like them outside the fact that, you know, they have a lot of issues, health issues.
Sad, yeah. Yeah, I love when I watch Henry. It's just, like I said, like every time I watch him, I'm just smiling the whole time. 'Cause he's just like...
They're just big goofballs.
Everybody I pass has to laugh and comment like, oh my... Because he's literally like... He's not even like golden anymore. He's just mud. He's just a giant mud ball. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love him. All right, so...
Moving on to today's topic.
Yeah, we could talk about all the different types of
dog care personnel.
services.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. A lot of different types of... That was something I had to like think of when I was starting, was like, all right, what
do you want?
What do I want to do?
Yeah.
Like, I knew I didn't want to do like walking, where you go to the house, like walk a dog.
Yeah, and then go drop it off after.
Yeah, it's just too much time for like one dog.
For one dog, yeah.
And then also, I'm not spending much. Like, I'm spending more time traveling than I am spending with the dog.
Yeah, and that's not
Big thing for me was
fun.
like, I want to spend time with the
dog.
So, yeah. Yeah, what are they? Let's see.
I put a couple different things. I did dog sitter versus dog daycare versus dog walker. So I think I would consider you a dog sitter. So someone who either comes to your home to care for your pet, or the pet goes to their home and stays with them and you take care of them, whether you be at work, vacation, family emergencies. A dog sitter will oftentimes be a dog walker at the same time while caring for your dog full time, pretty much.
Yeah, that sums me up.
Yeah. Doggy daycare, a facility or a home that cares for multiple dogs, either part of the day or the whole day. And then a dog walker who just goes to your house and walks your dog and drops them back off. They can sometimes also be a dog sitter.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with, I guess, we'll start with the basic, just like dog walker.
Yeah.
You know, they come to your house. That's actually how I started, kind of. I signed up for like Rover or WAG or one of those like services.
I was looking into that.
Yeah. And I got my first dog, Kylie, and she's
a little
cattle dog.
Okay.
I was gonna say
the one you were working today.
I found them on there. We exchanged numbers, and then I got banned because you can't do that. It's against like the terms of service, because they want you to like book through them because
so they get the money.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like
they're the third party, you know.
Yeah. So I got like instantly kicked off that, but then it just kind of like
how do they know though?
Yeah, well, I swear their app was reading my text messages because I got like an email and everything. It was like really sketchy.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like, uninstall that app.
Yeah,
like,
delete.
What the hell? But that what was it? Oh, yeah, dog walking. That's something where maybe if I was in Boston and like I had
Everyone's close and
yeah, but like here, I mean, it's just too spread out and far. But yeah, that I don't even know how much people charge. I think like it's almost the same. Like what I charge is almost the same as like for the whole day as what they charge for one walk. So like you can make a killing doing that,
bet, yeah.
but like too much driving and like
yeah. I feel like they don't offer liability through their websites, like the Rover Wag. Like if a dog gets bit or bites someone, like they tell them to like
it's like on the individual.
Exactly. It's not, the company won't help you at all.
Yep, I saw that where someone's dog like escaped, got killed, hit by a car.
Yeah.
And like they're just like, nope, sorry, it's
that
guy, the guy that had the dog.
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So
I just see that as like them not caring.
Right.
And they just want the
They
money.
just want money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just paying to use their app pretty much.
Yeah, there's business and then there's like actual like pet care, I feel like. And I've bumped into a lot of even people that do the same thing as me. I'm not gonna mention any names, but like they're just running a business. Whereas I'm like, I don't even, when people ask me, what do you do for work? I'm like, I don't really work. It's like a lifestyle. Like it's not really, I don't know.
Dogs are my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So finding someone that would be like a good dog walker, it's so hard.
I'm very picky.
Just trusting someone. Because like on those apps, they'll just send you a quick picture.
Yeah.
Like
a blurb and like,
you know what I mean? Like, hey, he took a poop. Here's a picture.
Yeah.
And it's like the dog on the leash, just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very picky. I don't want anyone to walk my dogs, but I'm like, I don't trust anyone.
That's why I'm like, started.
If anything happens, I would probably murder the person.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I started it because I'm like, I just want to spend every day with my dog. How can I do that? How can I incorporate Bailey into like
your lifestyle?
My life? And that's how it just started. Yeah.
It's working out.
Yeah. I know a few people who drive around, pick up like two dogs. They'll like walk them on leash.
I think they do like pack walks
and like
too,
some dogs, that's all they need / like best for them, like an on leash kind of like they have their space.
Exactly. And
like not every dog's gonna thrive in my type of environment where we go to an off leash dog park. So like I'm not trying to say just because I don't do dog walking doesn't mean they're not like a valid
if you're
option.
Working and you need someone to take care of your dog, a dog walker is a good option. Who comes over a couple times a day or a week, depending on your schedule, just to walk your dog, get that energy out, so they don't destroy your house while you're not home. So
like even some of the dogs I watch, I mentioned to you before, have like dog walkers that walk them.
Yeah,
which is good because like I don't do any like leash work really.
No, so
like my guys are awful on leash. I feel it's so bad. So like at least some of them get that. Like it's just it's good.
Yeah. So pairing a dog walker with a dog, I don't want to call you like a sitter because you don't sit them.
I don't go to people's houses.
I don't know what to call you. You're just weird.
I know. I call myself just like Doggie Adventure Camp usually when people ask. Or
that's
like
a good way to
off leash pack walks.
Yeah, that's so you're not a walker, but you're like a care giver.
Yeah, so like I get asked all the time, do I go to someone's house and walk a dog? No. I'll pick up all the dogs for the day. Mm-hmm. People ask me, do you board? My answer is almost always no.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile,
yeah, I get like 7 dogs. But my I don't know if you call it policy or stances. So I'll take care of like my clients when they go on vacation. I'll like babysit, if you will, their dogs, but I'm not going to take random dogs. So like Frankie, who's sleeping over right now, her mom runs the Urban Hound in Boston. They've got a dog hotel. She might have like 30 dogs sleeping there like at night. and you don't know necessarily like which, like it could be a regular who's there like every week, or it could be like, hey, someone just is visiting and their dog's like staying here.
Yeah.
So like with what I like about this is it's just like the same consistent group.
Yeah. So it's the dogs that you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like bringing in dogs that I've never watched to like sleep over. It just doesn't feel right because I don't know them.
Exactly. And it's not fit for every dog too. Like I feel like, say, Jetta would not thrive in this type of environment, but Shiloh and Fable, maybe. I don't know. But they're always with me, so I'll never find out. Unless I'm dead or dying.
I'm in Lucas's will. Their moms.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm not even taking clients at this point just because I have like my own like cap of how many dogs I want to watch. But when I do take on a client, I mean, it's like a slow process. So I'll like meet the dog.
Yeah, that's one of my questions.
You know, feel them out.
Feel them out. Do temperament test with your group. See how they fit
like
in.
I'll bring Bailey. So like the last, all right. So Eden and Odin were like the last that joined, and I just picked them up, threw them in the car, but they knew me, knew my group. They've already like played with us
from the dog park, right?
Yeah. So, it's funny. A lot of my clients are regulars at the dog park, which I like because I get to see them there all the time. They get to see me interacting with like the dogs. It's like, it's just nice.
It's like a positive experience. Like they see you, how you treat your dogs.
Exactly.
At home and here.
So what the heck was I saying? About
like bringing a new client in.
Oh yeah. So like Sadie, I was like the last dog. I did like a temperament. I don't even know if feeling them out. I guess you call it temperament. I don't go in with like any like checklist or like paperwork. And I don't bring the dog with me to do the temperament test. So like with her, it's like, hey, let's meet up in like a neutral. So we met up next to their house. They have like a fenced in area, like a field that's like fenced in. So we met up there. Bailey, Sadie, let them interact. Everything was like good. You know, I felt her out that day and it's like, all right, cool. And then the big thing, so I try to think of every little thing. So I say, okay, they're getting along. I'll take her on. You know, I can pick her up tomorrow, whatever. She's going to be the first dog I pick up when she's new, probably for like the first like month, because I don't want to pick up 10 dogs.
Don't want to bring her into the chaos.
Get her, throw her, and be like, good luck, kid.
Get
like
her.
I build the pack around her. She gets to meet them like one by one.
Yeah.
And again, it's almost always the same dogs. There's not often going to be like, I mean, some dogs, I like Chloe, who passed away. Her mom got a new dog, but she lives in New Hampshire. She moved. So sometimes, like if she's traveling, like I'll watch Carly for her. But Carly's not like a regular at my daycare. It's sort of like a really weird exception, if you will. Yeah. So I don't have a lot of that. So I like to like new random dogs. So I do like to just bring Sadie in right at the beginning. You know, here's all your friends, and build it up that way. Yeah.
I think that's safe to do too. Build it up.
It's easier on them. They're less anxious. So that's what I've kind of done with like all the dogs and people are always, when they see me, like, how the heck do you? And I'm like,
you built their trust.
Yeah. It's also been like one at a time. Like I didn't just show up with like 8 random dogs and like pray that they're going to stay with me. Yeah. Like, you know, it's been a slow
progression. Do you start on like the new ones on a leash with you at first, or do you depends?
Yeah,
on the
I feel them out. I like using a leash. So like with Eden, Odin's sister, she was like the chow that you saw today. When I first started watching her, she already had issues with men. She was abused before Melissa took her. So with me, she was not scared or anything, but just sort of like shy, standoffish.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't trust you. So with her, I'm like, let me put you on the leash. Odin, right from the rip, he was fine off leash. Anytime I drop the leash with Eden, I'd, watch her. She'd turn, go right for the parking lot. Luckily, she's slow. She kind of waddles. So,
she does.
Real easy to catch her. But it took about 2 months of sort of just testing her and building that trust to where finally, like,
she's comfortable with you.
She stayed with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the leash is good because I can feel like her energy and like, you can kind of feel a lot with the dog. Are they pulling and trying to be with the group? Are they trying to pull me away and go their own direct? Like, there's a lot that you can pick up from it. Yeah. So
all about the tension.
Yeah. It depends on the dog. Yeah.
That's good. And then, dog walkers, they may, do off leash walking, but I don't think I see them often doing that.
Yeah. There's not a lot of
I see
places.
like pack walks, but like there's not a lot of places for dog walkers to do that around here.
Yeah. I mean, for me to do what I do, so for those who don't know what I do, if you're like listening or whatever, basically my day-to-day is I wake up, I pick up my dogs for the morning. Usually takes me about 2 hours.
Oh, really?
From like 8 to 10 a.m. I pick them up.
Are they all in Weymouth?
So I'll go like 3A, sort of almost to Hull.
Okay.
For like Boston. And then I go from there down 228 through Hingham. And then from there, I go like through like the air base in South Weymouth.
I like that place.
Yeah. And
have you ever walked them there?
Yeah. They love it. They're just wide open.
The ticks are so bad there.
I know.
I only go during the winter now because of how bad. I'm like, I will never find a tick on Fable because of her coat.
Yeah.
I know. There, yeah.
The color, the length.
Also, it's hunting. You can hunt there. So they do a lot of gun hunting. And I'm like, Shiloh and Fable look like coyotes kind of, and I'm like, I don't need my dog being shot at. I usually put Hunter Orange on them anyways to be safe, but I do love it down there when it is nice.
It's peaceful.
It is cool.
I like it. So then I come down 18 back to my house, grab all my camera stuff, and then we go to the dog park. So what I do, so in order to bring my dogs to Stoddard's Neck, there were a few prerequisites. So I can only bring 8. So I bring 8. I'm pretty strict on that because I don't want to piss off DCR.
Which is funny because the one I was talking about earlier had 12 dogs.
I'm the only one that follows the rules. Not to sound like a stickler, a weenie, but my reason for being strict on that is because I have to get a permit through DCR in order to have those 8 without being like fined and all that. The park ranger's like, he's checked. Like I had an expired one and he was like, all right, well, and I'm like, all right, I'll take care of it right now. Like, and to get that permit, I need insurance and then I have to pay, I think it was like $100 a year for the permit. So that allows me to bring 8. So I don't want to piss them off. I don't want to break the rules, get caught, and then lose my ability to have the permit because then what the hell am I going to do? So I'm pretty strict on 8. So I bring my 8 dogs there. I wonder how you feel about this take. All right, so when I take him to the dog park, we'll spend a variable amount of time there between an hour, between 45 minutes to like upwards of 3 hours. That variability is going to depend on weather. Obviously, if it's super hot out, we're not going to spend 3 hours at the dog park. Usually, like the rainy days where it's cool, we can just spend all day there. But the big thing that determines how long I stay is not how long I walk them, but the quality of the walk. So if you think of, we're actually the only animal, I think, that is even aware of this. I think we're the only animal that, I mean, dogs stretch when they get up, but like we're the only animals that like actively stretch in order to
Preemptively,
preemptively. So when you think of like an Olympic athlete or any type of like hardcore, like not every day is 100%. There's rest days, certain days target certain like things, whether it's cardio, muscles, whatever. So I try to keep that mindset of like, all right, let's watch all the dogs and base off when I leave based off like how they're looking and feeling, as opposed to like, all right, we did 2 hours. I want to make sure they're, you know, tired, but not overworked, if that makes sense. So like, I don't enjoy bringing,
because overworking can actually be detrimental to them.
Exactly. So like,
from a vet standpoint.
Yeah. Like, again, not gonna, but there are dog walkers that'll just sit there and just throw the ball. And like, you know, dogs don't know when to quit. Like none of my guys, I could do that. They'll work for 3 hours.
Your dogs will do it
all day. But I know that can't be good for them. That's not. Yeah,
you can overheat your dog very easily.
Too much on the muscles, the joints. I'd imagine, like just overall, so I'm just very conscious about like how I try not to force them to do anything. I'll like, you know, we'll work the ball, but then we'll take a break. You know, we'll do a lap. They can relax, catch their breath, you know, let their heart rate drop. I just try to make sure they're safe and healthy.
Exactly. Yeah, when I go there, I'll do 10 laps, which is 5 miles.
Oof.
For my dogs, just
I walk slow half the time. Just
I know, like
I just watch them meander.
Yeah. It was a different pace today, so after you left, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
I do it for my own health and just because my dogs need that extra energy, so I know their energy levels. Obviously, every dog is different, so that's you can gauge what your dogs need, which is good. Yours dogs are, you know, more. They're high energy, but they're high energy focus based. So like the ball. Sniffing around in the woods looking for those critters, you know, you can gauge what you need.
Shiloh got a critter today.
I know. It was already dead though, and he ate it.
Crunch! You could just hear him crunching the bones.
Yeah, ugh.
Love it.
I wasn't gonna chase him because I wouldn't have caught him, and I was in my Crocs, and we were in the woods where there was mud.
Oh, and I know, like if you took one step at him, he would have just turned around.
He would. It wasn't worth chasing him.
Nope.
I mean, like we've talked about before, I'm okay with raw food, but I'm probably going to have to give him something just to make sure he doesn't get any parasites from whatever he ate. I'm assuming it's a dead bird, because that's what it looked like, but Jetta, I don't know if she didn't really go off on her own today, but usually she's hunting in the woods looking for stuff. When we first got there, Shiloh saw a squirrel, so that's like his main goal now was being in the woods looking for things. Fable, just being crazy. Fable.
Oh, she's so funny. I love her.
But after that, I gotta do the laps to get the extra energy out.
Yeah, see, like, so on like a hot summer day.
Oh, I wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I'd be there at night.
Right. And I gotta be conscious of like Boston, right? Like Boston's gonna overheat before, say, Bailey.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I'm just always like watching. Even like, I'm always checking the poop. Again, Gunther got the tapeworms.
Yeah.
I caught it because his poop.
Yeah, caught it before his owner.
Yeah, so like we were able to like take care of it before it was like
an issue or transferred.
Nasty, like, you know.
Yeah. And what I like about Star and Snack is the ocean's right there. So even on like a warmer day, like when I'm doing laps, I stop at both of the openings to let the dogs go
swimming and
go lay down in the water real quick if they want to, and then we keep going.
Shiloh's like a crocodile. You just see his little head, and
I call him the Loch Ness Monster because his neck's out and then his shoulders are under, but then his back's out and then his butt's under and then his tail's up, and I'm like,
once it's warm enough, I'll probably get some cool pictures going out with him, like swimming with him.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be cool. Yeah, so that's like what I do in a nutshell. Then I come home, let them like sleep, they rest. So like they'll rest while I drop off dogs. And then when I come home, it's usually like, all right, let's go, group B, let's go. So I take like the other 8 that weren't like the morning group, and we go back out. We do the same thing, and then I drive them all home at night. So, like from my house, but we're not like a backyard. There's one right down the street. I won't like name drop, but they put 25, 30 dogs in a backyard, fenced in backyard.
And say, have fun.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's like a lot of times I see like videos on YouTube where like, I don't know if you've seen I've seen like a doggy daycare where they have like a live webcam and you look at it and they're all just sitting there like watching the door waiting.
Yeah.
Like
they're not doing anything.
And then someone will
them.
come, open the door, check, and they're all, and then the person goes away and then they just sit and wait. It's just like, they're not doing anything.
And I'm like, they're there,
that's
but
just
they're
a
not
business.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And that's like,
there's no enrichment.
That's one of the things. I feel like that's a lot of doggy daycares is they're focused around as many dogs as they can.
Volume, money.
Yeah. Very little like actual time or like individual care do they get. Every dog's the same. And I think that can be scary because if they're leaving out water bowls and for like deep chested dogs who are prone to bloat, if they chug some water and then run around and their stomach flips and they don't realize it because they're not watching and they have 20 other dogs, that dog can die.
Yeah, I mean, even like dog fights I've seen
themselves. Oh yeah, and
they just
two
turn
dogs
into
fight
a
mob because all the dogs want to be involved in that fight, and then it sets off other fights because they're all amped and they're.
It's like when a sports game, when they clear the benches, it just turns into
a hive mind. Yeah, it's like one big hive mind. Everyone's like all amped, they're ready, they're like, what's going on? I want to be involved, and then they get nipped by someone else, and then they're reactive, and
there's 2 people trying to break it up, 30 dogs. It's like,
oh yeah, no, that's not safe. I'm personally.
Yeah, I wonder, what do you think is a good dog to, like a teacher to student ratio?
Yeah, I actually wrote this down too. I think per one person, per one staff, per one animal care person, I wrote 6 to 8 dogs. Anything more than that, I'd be a little sketchy about. You see like 10 to 15 dogs per one person at doggy daycares typically because that's what they require. I'm like, there's no possible way you can adequately keep an eye on every dog by yourself. The more people, obviously, more dogs, but I don't think any more than 6 to 8. And like you mentioned, state laws. So state laws only let you, depending on the state, have up to 8 dogs. I was looking into this too. And it's just kind of crazy to me that people, whatever, throw their dog in, good luck,
Yeah, when what was I gonna say? Oh, so before I got the permit, so the reason I started getting the DCR permit like last year, and I've been doing this for like 3 years, coming up on like my 4th year, or 3.5 years ish. So I was aware of the permit. I was kind of like, but the park ranger came and like, people were complaining about dog walkers. And so he just came down and like talked to us all. And so before then, I was taking like 14, 12 to 14 at a time. And like I said, now I'm very strict on the 8. And there's definitely a difference. It's definitely easier for me. But yeah, like looking back on it, I never had any real issues. But I'm way more confident and I do feel way safer with the 8. Like it does I feel like I've got a little bit less stress and a lot more enjoyment. Yeah, because it's just
I don't think I saw as many photos back when too, compared to now. So
like, and I mean, you saw it today, like when you were walking around with me, like they don't misbehave often. All right, Boston might, decide, all right, you know what? I'm going to go mess with Odin right now. Yeah. But like, because I've only got the 8, I can quickly correct that, like stop it, prevent it, whatever. Like, yeah. I think that's 6 to 8. I'd agree.
Yeah, I think that's the safest.
Yeah. Just because, again, I feel like, I've gone over that. And at the same time, now I'm like a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I understand. But actually, it's funny. I got yelled at by a woman. I think, I don't know if I told you.
I think, yeah.
So, funny story. Yeah. So she was yelling at me, 6 dogs. I had 8. And I was like, well, I don't care. Well, it turns out, so she bumped into Jane Lawson, the blind dog's mom, who you met today. Yeah. So they bumped into each other.
Lovely woman as well. Yeah. I just want to say that.
Yeah. So they bumped into each other. And Jane's like, oh my God, no, that's Andrew. Like, no, this is a big mix up. And long story short, the lady, I guess, wants to apologize to me. But I understand where she was coming from. So
seeing how many dog walkers take, I said, 12 plus dogs.
I didn't know it at the time, but looking sort of like hindsight now, I understand that she wasn't yelling at me because I was a dog walker, which was what I thought she was doing. She was just almost advocating for like safety. Yeah. And so like I respect that, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like I'm like, all right, you know what? Actually, you're like,
she's making sense.
Yeah. You could have come at me a little different with that, but yeah.
She's probably used to being blown off by people who she tells this to.
Well, she was walking with there was like an old woman who was nervous when she saw me coming, so I guess she just felt like,
Yeah, she had to protect her.
Yeah, so, but no, I totally get her point, and it's a valid point, yeah. I don't know how many employees are like dogs Frankie's mom, the Urban Hound takes, but I know it's a lot. But she also does have like quite a good staff. She employs. I mean, I'm on her payroll. It's funny for
her
Frankie.
Own dog.
But because she's got like the whole shebang, like groomers, trainers, dog daycare. She's in Boston, so they go to Victory Park. She's got someone that takes 8 dogs or 6 dogs to Victory Park, and then she's got the hotel where they sleep over at night. So, but larger scale than me, but I don't know. I'm curious what her teacher-student ratio is.
Yeah, her protocols and stuff. Yeah. And I think, so when searching for like someone to care for your dog, I feel like it's super important to read the reviews, look at the quantity of the reviews as well, just because you see a 5-star, it may only be 1 review. Obviously that's not like, they may be new, that's fine, but like reading the reviews.
Yeah, if you look at my Facebook, I've got 2 reviews, I think. That's it.
I'll go give you 1.
Yeah.
But reading the reviews and the quantity of the reviews, and like they typically have a blurb about themselves, their background. So, hi, I'm Andrew. I got into dog care so many years ago, and I'm comfortable with this, and this. So like medication administration, CPR, there's so many things that they typically, learn over time or take preemptive steps and learn, because there's always those emergencies. So reading the reviews and, seeing if you can get personal references versus asking for references if they are new. Asking online is a good place. Posting on Facebook, be like, hey, has anyone ever used high energy dog care? What is your experience? so on and so forth. Obviously, take with a grain of salt because everyone has a different opinion about everything. But
that's actually one thing to consider is turnover rate.
Exactly.
So again, my turnover rate's like none.
Exists.
It's 0.
Yeah.
I don't have dogs coming and going like typically. They're all super amazing.
Yeah.
But like if you look and you're constantly seeing like new dogs and then it's like, wait, where'd that, like if you're just constantly seeing this new rotate, like, all right, what, what's up with that?
And then obviously how many dogs and pets do they care for? How many is too many? Obviously we talked about that. 6 to 8 seems to be a good ratio per one person. Obviously if there's multiple people, having more is fine. Same goes for being a dog walker and a doggy daycare facility. I think 6 to 8 per one person is fine. But if like your friend owns the place, I'm assuming she has more than one person on to care for the quantity of the dogs she has. And that's just being in a group. I don't know if they all interact as a group, like a big group. You said 25 dogs for one of your neighbors. Comparatively by themselves in their own like separate private rooms and stuff, runs and stuff like that. Obviously you can have less people because they're individually taking care of those dogs. But if you start throwing multiple dogs, of different behaviors and different quirks and different things that set them off, obviously you're gonna need more
small
people
with big dogs.
Yeah, and that was one of my next things. I'm like, do you have for doggy daycares, do they have a small dog section versus a large dog section, or do they mix and mingle? Obviously, that's fine, but you need to keep an eye on the energy level of the dog that you're putting in there. Because obviously, a small dog that's low energy with a large dog that's high energy and constantly trying to play, or even like a hunting breed. So take Shiloh, and you throw him in with a Chihuahua, and the Chihuahua is running away, that's going to stimulate him to want to play chase. And for that Chihuahua, that's probably really scary.
That's just going to escalate.
Exactly. And eventually that Chihuahua's got to turn around and try to snap at him, and Shiloh
might defend himself.
Might defend himself or might accidentally step on the little Chihuahua. He's 98 pounds. Right. He's going to step on a Chihuahua. He's going to break his back. Yeah. Yeah.
He's so thin.
Wow. I know. It's just length and tall and fur and
yeah, you're gonna hear one final squeak and then
exactly. Whoops. So that's what they gotta consider when putting dogs together is energy level. So if you have a bunch of low energy dogs, throw them in together. Regardless of the size, just be careful, obviously. But if you have high energy dogs, throwing them together, as long as they're not gonna combat each other's personalities, I think that's fine as well. Doing a nice mix is okay because a big mellow Dane isn't going to have an issue with a hyper Frenchie running circles around it usually, unless the Frenchie's like nipping at it. And then obviously the level of experience they have for caring for pets. Do they have any animal background, vet med school, learning through experience? That's totally fine.
Do they do a podcast to learn?
Yes.
We're number 1.
Yeah. Do they know how to perform CPR, medication administration? I mentioned that already. Basic training in dog care. So obviously knowing basics, sit, stay, come, know how controlling the dogs, understanding body language, signs of illness, warning signs. So I'm sure you pick those up as you take photos of them. You can see like those little things. They're like
that's that helped one me learn so much. The slow-mo video and the pictures.
Yep.
Because
it's so quick that you don't see in person.
When I'm taking pictures, because it shoots them off real quick, I'll in my head say, okay, I think, Bailey was trying to, I don't know, let's say, rip Odin's face off. Yeah. And I'll go back and look, and I'm like, oh, it looked like she bit him, but they literally didn't even
come in contact. And it's like,
because it happens so quick and they're so precise.
Exactly. And knowing if a dog is like a loud player or not.
Mm-hmm. So Jetta heard Odin today.
Oh yeah, Jetta plays loud too. She growls and she's like barking, but you wouldn't know and she's like gnashing her teeth at it like Fable, and Fable's like
Right.
running around circles in her, trying to play with her, trying to like parkour off of her.
It's like a little goat.
Jetta's my real true mountain goat though. She'll climb mountains real quick. But just seeing like the behavior difference between Fable, who's a quiet player, who's more likely to just run circles around them, try to get them to play, like paw at their faces, compared to Jetta, who's a loud player, kind of lunges, but it's not aggressive. It's knowing the difference, even though she's showing, like, she looks like she's aggressive, but reading the body language, she's not being aggressive. Yeah. Just because
and that's how you can always tell, like, if depending on who she's playing with, if they're, like, knowledgeable dog. Because, like, if they're, like, like, get scared, like, it's like, no.
They're okay,
they're okay. Educate them. Like,
yeah. She's just a loud player.
Yeah.
And, like, just being able to pick up on those subtle cues. Just because a dog's wagging its tail doesn't mean it's always friendly. They can wag out of stress, too. So, stress yawning, lip licking, the whale eyes, all signs of stress. You know, there's a whole bunch for, you know, aggression and, you know, picking up on those. I think that's should be part of the basics, I believe. Also knowing signs of illness and warning signs. So, kind of coincided in that.
Yep, check their poop.
Yes. I think the facility should also be checked to see if it's clean and organized. Organized chaos obviously is okay.
Is high energy dog care sanitary?
Yes.
Enough? Awesome.
Yes, I give you a pass. But like I said, organized chaos is fine because dogs make a mess throughout the day. And you have dog stuff over here, but it's still going into their care, and it's just kind of, you know, organized chaos. Yeah. I think that's fine. Obviously, fencing. So doggy daycare should have secure fencing, 6 to 7 feet, sturdy, no holes, and then obviously looking at the ground. Can they dig under that? Do they have like a deep, like an underground part of the fence? Do they have cement before the fence or gravel? I think that's something that's smart.
And I think, so obviously to see the cleanliness, the best, you're going to have to visit in person.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's probably the best thing you can do is probably, so like if I would say you're like, hey, can you take, you know, Jetta, you know, I just moved to the area, whatever. The best thing for you to do if I said like, yeah, I'll consider, like, come out and watch like me at the dog park, or like, can I go to the facility and like
I do both.
See like
see how they go,
what
how
it's
it goes,
like, you know,
what the chaos is, because it's inevitably chaos because it's dogs, regardless.
Yeah, it's important not to see. If you were to like see me for like 30 seconds at the dog park, quick summary, like you might be like, oh wow, they're all like behaved and good, but like there's times where they're crazy.
Oh yeah.
And so it's more important to see how I handle them when they're acting up and being nuts than it is to see us when we're all just chill and calm.
Exactly. Like, and I think that's
you
very
should
good point.
Like, don't see the chaos and be like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, it's gonna happen. Dogs are animals,
dogs, exactly.
Right? But how is it managed? How is it handled? Is it responsibly, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or is a fight being broken up by like kicks and punches, or is it like appropriate? Are dogs being yelled at, screamed at? Like, are like those alpha tactics being used? You know, like, there's a lot of things that
to consider.
If you go and you watch and you don't feel comfortable, then that's a huge, you know, boom. If you go and you watch and you are comfortable, you know. Yeah.
I think that should be allowed too. If they don't have either access to let you like see how they are, or if you don't get pictures or updates, I think that's a big thing for me is if someone's taking care of my dog, I want updates. I'm the crazy helicopter mom.
Yep.
I want updates.
I got a few of them.
Yep. I want updates. I want pictures. I want, you know, if possible, access to like a webcam if they were going to like a doggy daycare, so I can check in on them whenever I can.
Yeah, because you know your dog the best.
Yeah.
The second you open that webcam and see their body, you're gonna know, are they stressed? Are they in fear? Are they having fun?
Exactly. And that's super important is not every dog is gonna love a doggy daycare. They may thrive better with a dog walker or a dog sitter. They're not going to just immediately be okay being thrown in with 20 other dogs, and they may be nervous and scared. Like, you pick up on those behaviors, you know your dog best, like you said.
Yeah, like, so if you were to ask me, like, hey, can I come, like, hang out for the afternoon and just, like, see how everything vibes? It's like, yeah, like, come hang out for 2 hours. Because then you are going to get a little bit of my chaos.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And your dog gets exercise
like,
at the same time.
Don't come hang out with me for 5 minutes if you're thinking of using me. Come hang out with me for the whole morning while I'm here, you know?
Get photos for that way, too.
Most of my clients are regulars there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I see them every weekend. I see them, like, late after work on the weekdays. So, like, they already get to see that from a distance. You know what I mean? The way I operate is like, and this is with everything in life, not even just the dogs, but like, just, you're on camera 24/7. There's a camera pointed at you. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. So like, like, why do something stupid and like irresponsible? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Something to consider. Another thing to consider is, do they have appropriate setup for different breeds, like comfortable temperatures and being able to like adjust based on the breed to prevent overheating or freezing? Do they have a shaded area? If they're offering water, do they do it at certain times? Do they do it at rest? Do they offer it 24/7? Like I said, my concern would always be bloat because some of my own dogs are prone to it. And when they're hot, they go and chug water. So, like, I'm like, that would be and then they go wrestle, and all that takes is a little shaking and the stomach flips. So that's my big thing, is if they're able to provide water based on the breed, and do they have areas of cool down? Do they have AC? Do they have fans? Do they have misting? That's, like, some of the things to consider. Again, that's mainly doggy daycare because obviously you're not going to find that at a dog park. But what I do like is you're not offering water to them when you're there. You're probably waiting until you get home when they're all settled.
I mean, not to say that they don't go find drinks, right?
Oh, exactly.
Like the puddles, the water bowls there,
the ocean.
Like, yeah, they manage, but I try to minimize it.
Exactly. And then, you know, what are their safety protocols? You know, what do you do when you think there's going to be a fight to break out type of situation? Just curious, how do you handle your instances?
Yeah, so like, as far as, so dog fight. What exactly is what exactly would you call a dog fight? Is that going to be two dogs actively going
at each other? Yes.
At each other, and
a little tough.
If you restrain them, they want to go back.
Yeah.
Type deal. Exactly. That I don't have.
You haven't had
ever.
Yeah,
really.
That's good. That's because you know your dogs and their energy levels and their their personalities.
Been in scenarios around other people where that's happened. So like my friend Kayla, just in her backyard, 2 pit bulls.
Oh yeah.
On leash, they went at it, and I put the camera down, grab one by the leash. She's got the other one by the leash, but they did not want to
separate,
cool down.
No.
If they weren't on leash, God,
that would have been bad.
Hind legs, and hope he doesn't turn around.
Oh yeah, and that's how most people get bit, is when they're reaching in to stop a fight.
Yeah. It's tough. Like, yeah, I mean,
in the moment it happens so fast, you just kind of react.
Yeah. I've dealt with a number of, like, I guess I'd call them more of a scuffle than a fight.
Yeah, scuffles are,
like trying to kill each other. More of like a disagreement.
Disagreement over the toy, over a ball, over a stick.
Like, and at worst, it might be like a puncture. Not trying to say like not trying to minimize like a bite or anything, but like, okay, if he's got like a little nick or a, puncture, like they might have just scuffled, in that case. Yeah. Like I try to
de-escalate,
get in there as quick as I can. I mean, a big thing about this is, like you always say, don't set them up for failure, set them up for success. And like you said, I know all these dogs. I've sort of vetted them. I don't take in a lot of, so like I haven't had to deal with that a lot.
Yeah. I've seen it at the dog park myself.
Yeah.
Not with my own dogs, but with other people's dogs.
Well, actually, yeah, Bailey. Well, so Bailey can go. Bailey's super patient. Mm-hmm. But if you piss her off, yeah,
cheese it.
Yeah, she'll go. I'm gonna end you. Like, there's no challenge. So yeah, I have to like pick her, grab her, and
like cheese it's intense. Her, yeah. She's like, I want to know what you're doing 24/7, and I think she can be a little pushy that way.
Yeah.
And
so I don't really even scream or yell or like I don't hit. I don't.
You just grab and hope for the best.
Try to. Yeah, I don't want to cause them more pain.
Exactly.
You know, and when you come at them from behind, like that sets them off more. They think you're.
Exactly. That's why people get bit. Is they turn around and bite because they don't realize who's actually grabbing them.
Yeah.
But getting in the middle, I hate saying getting in the middle because you're gonna get bit. But getting in the middle and separating their eyesight from each other can help a lot behaviorally.
Yeah. So with those pit bulls, I mean, we had to bring one in the house. One was still in the backyard.
And he was probably still amped.
Fucking fuming.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, neither of them are letting this go. Like, with all my guys, that's one thing I love. They always, like, let it go.
Yeah.
They might bark at each other. You know, like I said, I've had punctures that I've dealt with, but never, like...
Full on fights,
like
some of the pictures I send you from the ER.
Yeah, like you send me those and I'm like, I can see how this happens, but this would never happen with like my group because
it's scary.
I mean, I'm always prepared for it. I guess like I always know it can go sideways, but I'm fortunate. Or not fortunate. It's just I know them. I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Other than fights, there's also if you get a sick dog versus one that gets loose.
Kennel cough.
Yep. A dog that bites a staff member. Again, that's mainly for doggy daycares. How will you end up communicating with the owner and what, next steps being depending on the situation.
So like actually I get a good story. So luckily I've had insurance since I started it. I don't know. I think I pay like $100 or $100 to $300 a year. I think it's like $300 a year now because I have like additional things for like going to starter's neck, blah blah blah, whatever. So I think it's like $300 a year. I was watching a Vish Lacona, and there's a little Boston Terrier, Gino, and he's not neutered. I don't know how old he is, but they were just checking each other out. Gino's not one of my clients. He was like with his owner, and they were sniffing each other, and Kona nipped him. It got him like right under the eyeball. He just kind of gave him like I assume it's because he was unneutered. That's just my guess. Dogs are weird. So I told her like, I know, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I know that's hard to believe. I'm like, let me give you my number. And so she was nervous at first because obviously her dog just got bit. Yeah. And like Kona was like still there. So I just put him on leash. But like they were pretty fine. So I just said, here's like my number. Let me like call you, whatever. We exchanged numbers. I said, bring him to the vet. I'll take care of it. So she did. She brought him to the vet. It was like $360. They had to put him under to clean the eye. So I put him under. It was like $360. I Venmo'd it to her. And she was, by the end of it, she said, you restored my faith in humanity. Yeah. Because I didn't screw over or whatever. So I let, Kona's owners know they were on like vacation. I just said, hey, like, here's like, while it was happening, here's what happened. Can I get, your rabies,
Yeah.
Which I should have had beforehand.
Oops.
Yeah. So they just texted me that. I texted it to her,
So that way her dog wouldn't have
quarantine.
had to quarantine.
Yeah. And then I just said, hey, I Venmo'd her like the whole thing. And I don't care what you send me, but here's what it was. Like, whether or not you send me any money, like, I was taking care of it on my principle, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like,
does your insurance cover any of that?
Yeah. So I put in a claim, and I think I got back. So out of the 360, I think I got back like 135. So that came in a few weeks, and I texted them, hey, I got a check for, whatever, do you want it? We were going to give it to them. They just said, keep it for yourself as like a credit, so like, yeah. So they ended up, anyway, they sent me the full amount. And so I was just going to give them like the 150 backs, even though, yeah, because it wasn't anything out of my pocket. So, yeah, so happy to have had it. Like, I don't know if, so I don't think she could like press charges or like, I don't know because like I took care of the dog, but if I was a scumbag,
she could have sued. Yeah.
I assume she could like take me to court and all that. Yeah. So, and if I was a scumbag and I had the insurance, I wonder how that plays out if the insurance covers me or not, I doubt it, but
yeah.
But I'd rather have the insurance. Again, I need the insurance
it's
anyway.
very safe than sorry.
Yeah, I needed insurance regardless for like a million different reasons, for the business, for myself.
And I know we've talked about you getting bit by dogs before. Have you ever had any like specifically sick dogs that you had to deal with?
Nothing like major.
Just like minor things.
Like kennel cough, which, I mean, it's not even like medicine usually for that. Like
doxycycline, but
oh, what's that?
Antibiotic.
Oh, you can't do an antibiotic?
Yeah.
All right.
Some old school vets will say just let them ride it out.
Okay.
But a lot of vets
I go to
will
an
say,
old school vet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I will say doxycycline will clear it up real quick. Shiloh as a puppy had it really bad. Literally like the first day I had him, I had to get a script before he was even seen, faxed over, and I was in rabies quarantine, COVID quarantine.
Bye, Courtney.
I know, R.I.P. COVID quarantine because I just traveled and I got exposed. But I didn't have it. But since I was exposed and it was the beginning of like COVID, the week after COVID happened and the lockdown started, I went and flew to Georgia to get my dog. Not Georgia. Well, Georgia and then to Tennessee.
Shiloh,
yeah. And then like on the way back.
Would you rent a car?
I flew down and I rented a car to drive back because they were giving me issues on flying home with them, even though I'm like, no one is on these planes.
Yeah, it's a puppy.
It's a puppy, but his back touched the top of the soft mesh carrier that was collapsing inwards a little bit, so I couldn't go on the plane. They're like, there's not enough room. I'm like, he's literally sitting up in there.
Yeah.
He's fine. But they're like, nope. And they're like, we're not even doing cargo right now because of COVID. I'm like, I wouldn't put him in cargo regardless because he's a puppy. Also, it was myself and one other person on that plane on the way here. Like, you guys lost money.
Was that weird?
It was weird.
That's like being on the subway.
I literally laid out on all three seats. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, no one's around me. No one's here to bug me.
It's like, you ever take the red line at like weird time? Like, like if you ever take the red line at like, I don't know, 11:30 in the morning, like you can get a seat, you can chill. It's like crazy. But if you take it in rush hour, it's like,
oh my God,
hacking you in Sardi.
Yeah. It was weird. It was definitely weird having it was a smaller plane. So I'm guessing that's why. The only reason why I had to stop at like the gate with my dog is because my other flight got changed to leave before I even landed from my arrival flight. So I had to go and have them switch it because I'm like, that's not my fault. You guys switched my flight. And they just happened to look down and be like, oh, is that your dog? And I'm like, yeah.
No, it's a cat.
I'm like, regardless. So their rules is if the dog.
It's not even by weight.
It's not by weight. It's by if it fits in the carrier. So if as long as it's
carrier?
No, the carrier you bring. It should be able to stand up fully without its back touching the top and be able to turn around. He could turn around. He could stand up. It's a mesh carrier though, so there was like a little divot. In it, and it was touching him. I'm like, listen, look it. I'm like, if I spread this out all the way, it doesn't touch his back. And they're like, nope. I'm like,
protocol.
I'm like, I am out here in the middle of some place I've never been.
Yeah.
And you're gonna leave me stranded instead of letting me go on a flight where there's probably like one or two other people.
Yeah, crazy.
And I'm like, you guys are crazy. And the thing is, I couldn't rent a car unless I had already bought a return flight home. So I had to make sure I had a return flight already booked. They're like, well, you can leave the dog. I'm like, I'm not going to leave a dog. That's why I'm here.
I know.
And then I had to wait.
People, who would even say that? Like, whoever that is doesn't own an animal.
Exactly. I'm like, that's so stupid. There's got to be a
17-year-old.
And then I had to call my grandmother because I didn't get paid yet. And I was like, I don't have my savings, my debit card. Like, not my debit card, but my savings card. Yeah. I only had my debit card, which I only put like a certain amount in because I was supposed to just fly back and forth. And so I only brought that in case I needed gas. And I'm like, I call my grandmother. I'm like, hey, I'm in Tennessee. She's like, what? And she was like, what the fuck are you doing in Tennessee? I'm like, getting a dog. She's like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, she's like, leave the dog. I'm like, no, not, you know me. It's not going to happen. No. So she had to send me money so I could rent a car, which actually was pretty cheap. And I wasn't 25 at the time. So I technically wasn't supposed to be able to rent a car because you had to be 25 or older to rent one. And they're like, well, since it's COVID, we have a new exception.
Yeah, they're probably dying for money.
I know. We have a new exception because everyone's trying to get home, which makes sense, that you can rent a car for no additional fees on the insurance because the insurance would have been like $300. It ended up just being $82 total and then paying for gas along the way. And I drove nonstop home. That was 16 hours. I didn't stop. Well, I did stop to fill up, and I stopped maybe twice to take an hour nap because I was freaking exhausted. It was supposed to be a quick 3-hour flight there, 3-hour flight home, be home before anyone knew that I actually got a dog because I didn't tell anyone.
Oh, man.
I didn't tell anyone. I was just going to be home with it.
I don't believe in karma, but karma, baby. Right?
But that's how I've always been. Like, I got Jetta without telling anybody. I'm like, I don't have to tell people. I'm like, I'm going to do what makes me happy. Yeah. And Jetta...
If you were an awful, negligent owner...
Yeah.
Then
I would say otherwise, but but my dogs are my life. So, needless to say, not a lot of people were happy with me. I also drove Shiloh's sister home too because she was worried she wouldn't be able to get home with her. So the breeder actually came back from her home to the airport to drop off her sister to Maggie. So I drove 2 puppies home. They were really cute though. Shiloh was, I think it made the trip more easy for them that they had a sibling with them, with each other. I'm like, I love travel. So I think it just made the whole trip more enjoyable.
Yeah. Nice
a little easier
adventure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I parked in the New Jersey stadium, like the football stadium, to freaking take a nap, and a cop came up. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm so tired right now.
Leave me alone."
I'm not from here. I'm not from where this car's license plate is. I just need to take a nap. He's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Thank you." Oh my god, it sucks just getting closer and closer to home when I was getting more and more tired. Mm-hmm. I got home the next day at 9 a.m. and I'm like, I'm ready for bed. Yeah. I left at 6 a.m. the morning prior, and I've been awake since.
Ugh,
so
brutal.
It was brutal. I don't know where I was going with that story, but here's a story of how I got Shiloh.
I did just think of something, though. Another thing you can potentially look for in your dog care person. Well, so like you're gonna want to build a relationship with this person. So
regardless,
yeah.
You should have their phone number, their cell phone number.
Yep. Like all of my clients are like family.
Exactly.
You know?
You should be able to contact them at any point.
And like anytime something does happen, like a bite, I don't try to cover it up or sugarcoat.
That's
like,
where we're
I'm just
from,
honest. I'm just honest and like, here's what happened. It sucked, but we'll do whatever we like. If I got to bring him to the vet, I bring him to the vet. If the owners can't, you know. But sorry, going back to what I was thinking was, check out whoever it is that is the candidate for the caretaker, and like, all right, go online. Like if you look at me, and I'm not going to say all this to brag or to be an egotistical person, but just to show
what you should be looking for.
What I do. But like, I do all these photo shoots for free, and we do charity things, and we do this podcast, and I'm constantly trying to like better myself in animal knowledge. And like, you can go on my Facebook and like literally see that.
You're constantly trying to improve yourself.
Yeah, Frankie's mom, again, with Urban Hound, she did stuff with the community. She had a program where she would, I think it was homeless people with a homeless shelter, where they could come in and like they'd have their dog that they'd help take care of and walk, and like just like good things to give. Like, don't just get somebody who that's all they do and like
they don't give back.
You don't have any like feel of personality, or like they're just like they just do their little business. Like, yeah, find somebody who really cares, because then you're gonna know they're like good in good hands, you know.
Exactly.
There's so many good and bad like dog or animal caretakers, you know, like, so it's real important to do your homework. That's your baby. That's your child.
Exactly. Always do your homework.
Yeah.
If you don't do your homework, then it's not.
If you have any bad feelings, it's hard. I mean, I've literally sent a video of a dog or an animal caretaker screaming at animals. Like, hey, this is a video of your dog getting screamed at, and they like literally
for no reason
did not. Yeah, it was for literally no reason. I mean, you saw it.
Yep.
And they didn't care. They didn't care. So, which sucks. But people are just interesting. There's a lot to unpack there about like, you know, biased or and like, you know, well, it's, you know, well, he wouldn't, you know, or I don't know, well, it's okay. It's, yeah, like a lot of people don't face reality. They're like delusional.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They kind of just put it off. They're like, eh.
So it's like crazy. Yeah. Like,
it's that one-time thing. But is it really a one-time thing?
I know. How much happens like
that you don't see, or that's not actually recorded by accident.
Right. Exactly. It's like, so like, you just got to be very attentive. And if you have any bad feelings, listen to them.
If you don't vibe, you don't vibe. Yeah.
Boston, before I watched Boston, he went with a different dog sitter, and she didn't like him, the person. And didn't send him. It wasn't like we sent him for like a year, and then we started.
They're scratching on the thing.
Psycho. Oh, it's both of them.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not like she sent him for a year and then was like, oh, I don't like. It was like she said she knew like within like 2 to 3 visits or sessions, whatever you want to call it. That
they're just
idiots.
Crackhead hour, you know.
Yeah. Well, the gray one likes to dominate the little black and white one, and he loves it. They're their own little power couple.
Cats are weirder.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to deal with a dog getting loose?
Oh yeah. I think I told you about Tucker, and he ran up 3A.
I think you told me that, yeah.
But again, like, I didn't try to even sugarcoat that at all. As I'm running to get that dog, as I'm running to put myself between a highway and this dog that ran away, and this is really the only major time I've had this happen. But as I'm running to like go, I'm calling the owner like, hey, can you get over here? Like, here's what's going on. Like, I'm not trying to get the dog
and then call
and then like see if I can like spend an hour trying to get him to safety. Like, no, let me just
It's very safe.
Let's
Yeah.
get this
And then, like,
done.
that's like super important.
Is
too.
it gonna maybe make me look bad? Potentially, but I mean, I don't care. I just want the dog to be safe. Like,
yeah. Like, that's like a huge thing for me. Is like some places only do like weekly reports, regardless of behavior, regardless of the dog getting loose, regardless of its, how it's feeling. I mentioned this earlier. I'm like, I want daily, I want hourly, I want minutely almost updates. I want pictures, I want videos, I want to know where my animals are. We just put a baby cam in my hospital's back room where our runs are. Yeah. Because we have to keep an eye on the surgery pets that go back there that are large and can't go in like smaller kennels. Mm-hmm. But also when there's nothing there, I like to put on Shiloh and Fable. I'm like, they're just sleeping, but I'm like, these are my babies. Yeah. They come to work with me. I got to know where they are 24/7.
Yeah. So like, another thing, if you are considering someone like me, for instance, something to think about is like, are you always with the dogs? So like, obviously I get dogs sleeping over tonight. Like, let's say Sam and I want to go out to dinner. Nobody's going to be here with, say, 5 dogs. That's obviously not good.
Yeah, because something can happen. And
whether it's they attack each other, whether they get into something they shouldn't, whether the house burns down.
Yeah.
I'm not there. Sam's not there to. So, like, I try to minimize that. Luckily, Sam works from home.
Yeah.
So if I'm dropping dogs off in the afternoon, she's home with whatever dogs are here. Mm-hmm. But, like, we went to my cousin's 50th birthday. And, like, after about, like, half hour, I start panicking. Yeah. I'm just like, we gotta go. Yeah. Like, I just can't.
Ruining date night.
I know, yeah. So we literally, anytime there's, like, a thing, a holiday, it's like, I get anxious. And it's like, all right, can we just be in and out? Because, or, like, can we bring, like, Christmas, I bring the dogs to my parents' house. Yeah. Like, if I had 8 one Christmas. It's like, we bring them, they're there with me.
It's a lot better. It's a lot less stress. Yeah.
They behave, except for Bailey.
Wondering how long your dogs will be alone by themselves, obviously, is a big thing when you're choosing a place.
It should be 0. Yeah. In a perfect world, but.
It should be.
I'm not perfect.
I know. My dogs are alone right now, but I know my dogs. Hopefully.
And that's the other thing.
Shiloh gets into something. So I work on the ER.
Yeah, going back to the dog count. Again, it only takes 2 to tango.
Yeah.
Like, you've sent me.
Of housemates, too.
Yeah, like.
Housemates that
ripped each other apart. And it's like.
And the other dog had to die.
Yeah. So.
It's crazy. And then you have to consider putting your only dog left down. Like, do you put that dog down? There's a pretty bad video I'll show you after. It's just too gory to pull up now, but of 2 housemates, and the other dog literally ripped this. Like, you could see the heart beating. Like, it was that bad. And it's just, you have to consider that they're housemates. They grew up together. All it takes is, like, I don't give Shiloh treats around, like, in the kennel at work, because he can be high reward treats. He gets, like, a little possessive of, because he wants, so when he eats, crumbs fall out because how long his mouth is. So he's possessive of those crumbs that fall out. And I had a coworker go back without telling me and was giving him treats when Fable was a puppy. And he snapped her right in the face. And she had also a puncture right here. Thankfully, it wasn't bad, but I was livid. I'm like, 1, you didn't ask me.
Right.
2, like,
whoever you are, coworker.
I know.
Shame on you.
I know. Oh my God, the drama behind that. Yeah. But, like, 2, like, it could have been a lot worse. Like, he's a big dog, and she was only 10 pounds at the time.
I'll put a picture of her as a baby. She's so small.
She's perfect. But, like, I know Shiloh, and he is amazing every other aspect, but high reward treats, I just don't feel comfortable giving him in an enclosed space.
And if you have a dog like that, that would be something to let them know during that initial meet.
Exactly. Don't let the dog sitter or dog walker or doggy daycare find out that way.
Yeah.
Always let them know.
Speaking of, because you said you like the check-ins a lot. If you go on Facebook and search hashtag Justice For Gulliver,
Cats.
In a nutshell, like, you know, you can read it on your own time, but in a nutshell, puppy went to daycare while they were going on vacation. Said they'd check in a lot. They got like a message a day for the first few days, then like a week of silence, and then all of a sudden they have this like deathly sick dog. This is in Boston. And it's just like,
I think I saw that post.
Crazy. It's
How
just
fast,
like,
yeah.
you know, and like to see, so like I would never find myself in that situation because no matter how small it is up front, if you're not open with the owners, like it's just gonna build and build and build.
Exactly.
Like if you try to
it's
hide
gonna get
it,
worse.
like
there was
if
one
that
in,
was if that was happening, whatever the symptoms, I'd be actively like, hey, here's what's going on. Like, I'm not sure. Should I bring him to your vet? You know what I mean? Like, I'd be actively trying to.
There was actually a case in Hanover at Briarwood Kennels, I think it's named. They breed doodles, so that should tell you one thing. But I think that a dog that was born there got in a huge fight, and when the owner came and picked up, it was covered in punctures, and that dog ended up dying because it was septic, and it wasn't a good case because the kennel never said anything.
Yeah. So I've had things slip by, but nothing
to that degree
crazy.
Like if you
like a little puncture that you gotta really, you know. And then I'm like, oh yeah, so and so were playing rough. It was probably them. Like, you know, let me know if what I can do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
You know, I'm honest, but like sometimes, yeah, you do miss stuff, but you better not miss something major.
Yeah.
You know, and you better be honest. That's
like
it.
if you pet that dog and all you feel is holes, that's when you know. Like, did you not touch that dog the whole entire time it was there?
Yeah.
So it just makes me
crazy.
sick to my stomach.
That's my biggest fear is having a dog die under my. I don't care about like injured to a point.
Yeah.
Like a broken leg, okay. Like we can. This
You
sucks.
Fix it.
We can
fix it though.
But like a dog mauled and dying, or a dog hit by a car, I couldn't. I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, it's
like,
a sucky situation.
Anytime something bad, like even if it's a little puncture, it hurts me because it feels like my children are fighting. I don't have children, but they're like my children. It must be what it feels like. Yeah. And then also, I lost my train of thought on what was I going to say? Oh, well.
Well,
it'll come to me after, so.
I will say I am not a fan of doggy daycares, just because I feel like they're not appropriately staffed with people who are not knowledgeable enough to understand behavior or be able to de-escalate a situation. Dog walkers and dog sitters I like because it's personalized. Obviously, there's not always bad doggy daycares out there, but you got to do your research. As I mentioned, being insured or bonded, being super important in case something does happen. And if are they advocating for your dog and, you know, notifying you on every little like behavior, regardless if it's like a stupid little text or a phone call. It takes 10 minutes. Like it shouldn't be hard to contact an owner, regardless of the situation. And, you know, if your pet's doesn't seem like it's doing well in that that environment, the money should not be going over the pet's mental health as well, because they can suffer as well as humans mentally, because it can be very straining. It can put a lot of pressure on the dog, and in return, the dog can be, you know, fearful, more likely to react, stuff like that. They don't, you know, have depressive tendencies like humans to the same degree, but like they do get depression. They get depression in a certain way.
I think I've heard about like shelter dogs and shelter too long. Don't they get super stressed?
They get super stressed. Some dogs don't do exactly.
They
mutilate.
Yeah,
they self-mutilate. Some dogs just aren't like good for shelter situations as well. Like they they don't understand. They feel like separated and like abandoned almost. That's why when you see like a lot of posts where it's like dog isn't doing well in shelter, they want to try to get out to a foster ASAP because obviously it's deteriorating. And the dog's less likely to get adopted because it's displaying stress signs. It's self-mutilating, it's stressed, it's growling, it's barking, it's, you know, not getting along with other animals where it previously had, you know.
And that's just like environment.
It is. It's all environment. And being able to, you know, understand basic behavior for dogs is, I think, a key, and being able to watch your dog in that type of environment before you just start leaving your dog at like a doggy daycare.
Yeah, I would never like sign up for doggy daycare and then just like hope for the best.
I know, just wing it, you know, throw your dog in, hope for the best.
Because that's not how I look at my dog.
It's the same thing
like
with,
I said, I look at them like they're my children.
Yeah.
And so I want the best for them.
It's the same thing with dog parks. Not every dog is cut out for a dog park. And dog parks can be a huge like center of disease or fights because people don't understand their own dogs. When they bring them, they're like, this dog will be fine. And then he goes and attacks like 6 other dogs. Yeah. And you got to rush out of there before they're like, get your info. Yep. So you don't have to pay the bills. But it's, you know, that's why I advocate for, if you do go to dog parks, to do it safely and smartly. And super important to do, you know, knowing your own dog before you bring a dog to a dog park, because your dog may be the problem. Mm-hmm. Also avoiding the weekends. Yep. Because that's when everyone is off, or anytime after like 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock usually, because that's when people get off of work. Obviously, if that's your only time and you want your dog to enjoy that time, do it smartly and be able to step in and advocate for your dog. Be able to be like, hey, can you get your dog? Yeah. It's acting too aggressively towards mine. It's not being malicious, but it's just, you know, bothersome. It's gonna cause an issue. Yeah. I went to Abington Dog Park. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's a small fenced in yard, maybe like an acre, if that. For the large dog side, they have a small dog side that's maybe like a quarter or a half acre. And I walked in. I was like, oh, I'll just walk them real quick. I'm on my way home from work. I like that they have gravel. I don't always like gravel because it can cause like cuts and stuff, but they have a gravel park and it's good for their nails. So trim down the nails. And as soon as I walked in, dogs are rushing they have a 2-gate system. Gates, yeah. Which I like. I think started
next. They all line up. They're like,
yeah.
Who is it?
I know. They're rushing the gates. I'm like, well, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Like they're a pack almost.
Exactly.
Like, who is this? Yeah.
And then
can you hold that thought 1 sec? Because I'm about to pee my pants.
Okay.
All right, hold on 1 sec. Sorry.
Run.
Oh, sorry. Between that Red Bull and that water, just nailed me.
You're good.
Yeah. So they all line up at the gate.
Yeah, and then the owners finally come and, you know, pull them away from the gate. And
they're probably chatting and not paying attention.
And then, so I walk in and I take like first 15 steps, and Shiloh is being chased down by this German Shepherd that's showing not aggressive, but like persistent and very dominating tendencies. And obviously Shiloh is not going to enjoy that. So I'm like, so I call my dogs who come promptly to me. I leash them up and I leave. And the guy's like, the owner of the German Shepherd's like, where are you going? You just got here. I'm like, well, I'm just advocating for my dogs. It's not a safe situation to put my dogs in. Your German Shepherd's being very dominating. I know it's probably not malicious, but, you know, that can lead to dog fights. And I just don't want to put my dog in that situation. He's like, yeah. And, you know, he has the dog has like an army, like vest on, and like he's like calling the dog like 30 times.
They just let them do what they want. They don't.
Exactly. And like,
there's no accountability.
No. He called the dog like 30 times and the dog didn't listen once. He's like, come on, they want to leave. Come on, they want to leave. I'm like,
yeah, they're just like, there's so many people like that.
Here's your dog,
Yeah.
still trying to dominate my dog as I'm trying to leave.
Yep.
My dog's on a leash. Like,
Yeah, people are crazy. Yeah, I see that a lot.
exactly.
At the dog park.
It's so crazy. I'm like, if you have a dog that's going to try to dominate another dog, unless that dog's a submissive dog, it's going to cause an issue. So say Shiloh is also dominating. Like, that's 2 alpha males. Right. They're going to fucking fight. Like,
yeah, so like for me, the second I see like any of that, especially if it's like nobody's paying attention, but I see like that I'll go in, leash whatever my dog is going to be on the receiving end, if you will, like, and just keep moving. Like, I just get out of there.
And I know since Shiloh's intact, that German Shepherd is probably going to be like on top of him. So it's like, it's not worth risking your dog's safety, you know, trying to leave like that area, or that's a small area to be in with. So leaving the whole park, and I went and just went to my mom's house. The fence
gets them more amped up.
It is, because it's
like
contained area.
Barrier, yeah. Whereas
like Shiloh wouldn't have been able to escape.
They can just go in and they feel like they're free. They can get away from whatever's bothering them. Yeah. Exactly.
Like Shiloh, he will defend himself. He's very laid back dog, but if your dog's going after him, he will defend himself. Exactly. There was one time that I went and met up with a couple of kids, I think I mentioned before, that wanted to meet Borzois. And that was the day I ran into you and Sam. You guys were just leaving as I was just getting there. I think it was just snowing or just finished snowing or something. But I was there, and this little black pitty, they were playing, and then at some point during that play, it turned into like hunting. Like the little pitty was trying to hunt Shiloh, and Shiloh got scared, and he ran back to me, because that's what I trained him to do. If he's scared, run to me, because I will defend him. And so he's running, and then he comes to me, and I'm like, okay, this is abnormal. And that thing is trying to like gnash at his face, and I had to grab the other person's dog. I'm like, hey, they're like a mile away. I'm like,
I know.
Can you come grab your dog? Because he's trying to like attack my dog currently. And they're like, he's fine.
So frustrating.
I'm like, he's not fine. My dog just tried to bite him because he's biting his face. Like, he's lucky he's furry, but like, it drives me nuts. I'm like, my dog's a show dog. If you just scratch my dog, I'm gonna freaking be pissed.
Yeah, people make the assumption that my dog's a good dog. It's all the other dogs that are the
and it's not
bad dogs. Yeah,
I know exactly what type of situations will trigger my own dogs, and that's what people should do.
You can almost, I think, like see the outcome before it even gets there.
Exactly.
And I know, like, we gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you knew what that's gonna lead to.
Exactly.
And so why continue to let it like build?
Exactly. Yeah. Shiloh loves chase. He doesn't like being the one chased. He likes doing the chasing.
He liked chasing Boston today.
Yeah. He's like, this is so fun.
You're bunny.
Yeah. But he's gentle about it. He doesn't like, he may accidentally like step on him because he's too fast, but he's not like aggressive about it, which is nice. But if he's okay with certain dogs chasing him for so long, after he feels like he has to like run for his life, that's when he gets super scared and like will bark not bark, but like give like a warning to the other dog. Like he'll like lift his lips and like make, he won't bark, but it's like a weird noise that he like rumbles out of his throat. And that's usually like, the dog still doesn't understand because they're not trained, but that was where I was at, and I was so pissed. I'm like, I had a feeling that day, because it was a quiet day, that there was going to be someone with like a dog that was going to be unruly. And I'm like, obviously when I'm showing people Borzois, like
and they're always
getting them
so
into the
clueless.
breed.
He's just goofing around, and you're like, if you think this is good, it's like the video last night that I say, like, if you think this is cute, the barking at your dog thing, it's like,
it's not. Your dogs are stressed.
It's crazy.
They don't understand.
Like, and some of those people I tried to educate, and I just can't.
It doesn't go well.
Sometimes it's like talking to a wall. Yeah. Okay, well, that's unless you got more.
I think that's my points. It's just it's everything.
Yeah, really. I think if I could just give like that last summary of advice, it would be before your dog spends time with whomever, wherever, you should spend time with whoever, wherever.
Exactly.
You know, spend that hour or two. Don't spend 5 minutes. You know, yeah. I can fudge 5 minutes. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, look, they're so good, but
I know
that hour.
No,
that cork's not going back in.
I'm trying. Expanded.
Yeah. Do your homework on the individual.
Yeah, before you send your dog to something that may not actually
some places
be enjoyable.
I guess. Well, because if I employed like 5 people, you might not be able to look up those 5 people. So that's where going, you might not be able to Google all their names or know all their names. So like going to the facility, just sitting there watching, like if I went and I was like, hey, where's your doggy like play area? Can I go hang out there? And they're like, no, it's off limits. I'd be like,
there's a couple places in Boston that are like that too. They're like underground dungeon.
No, thank you.
But they won't let you see it.
Yeah, right.
They let you see like the first floor rooms, and then
that's like nice looking.
Yeah, and then after you leave, they bring the dog down.
Yeah, to like the
when I was
hellhole
in
dungeon.
Seattle, I read a couple of reviews. I forgot the name of the dog place, but they're like the dog was fine, and then when the owner picked it up it was like a board and train. The dog was sickly. It was like emaciated.
Speaking of board and trains, real quick, I'm not a big fan
of those. I think
you got to be a part of like the process. It's you and your dog.
How are you gonna learn?
Yeah.
How are you gonna
guidance
learn yourself?
Is okay.
Yeah.
If they're guiding you, but if you're having them do the work and you're literally not even there, it's like
what's the point? Because the dog's
gonna come home and lose all of it. Yeah, exactly. It's like they imprinted to Joe Schmo, but they're gonna come home and Deborah's then not gonna listen to Deborah.
Yeah,
it's like
Cheez-It did a board and train, and it taught her some manners, but not like that. They didn't follow through with like the actual training part, so she still like jumps up when you first see her, and I think that was like the big thing that they didn't want. I think she mainly just does it to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh, what do I know? I'm not. I have no experience in anything. I'm just winging it.
Yeah, so that's it. Just go study the people that are going to be taking care of your pet. Exactly. Just study them.
Ask for their like background too. Ask for their references. Don't be afraid to ask someone for them to give you references with someone else. Like, because not everyone's gonna lie. But
yeah, I'm so like open with all my stuff. It's like one thing I was thinking of doing too in the future is like raw videos where it's just audio, video, no editing, just like here it is, 30 minutes.
Yep.
Almost like that webcam.
Yeah.
But like a little bit higher quality, if you will,
I would assume it's higher quality. Look at these freaking things.
But like capturing that idea of like, I wouldn't do it frequently because that would take a lot of time, but like, just to show like, here's how we do it. Not like a 30-second clip of the dogs getting along.
Yeah.
But like, no, for real, here's 30-minute video. In that 30-minute video, they're going to be acting like dinks sometimes, and you'll get to see how I handle it.
Exactly. And I think that's smart.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
until next time.
Next week. Cool. Thank you, and good night.
Yeah.
Great night. Good night.